Hey, welcome back, everyone, to the Business Talk, the show where we dive into the businesses and industries that keep our world moving forward. I'm your host, Didier, and in today's episode, I'm speaking with Jolynne Mora. She owns a company called Elements Home Staging LLC, and I think listeners, you're going to really learn a lot when it comes to interior decorating and staging in your home. So, with that being said, how you doing, Jolynne?
Hi, I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. Thanks for asking. So, listeners, in each episode, our guests share practical tips and valuable advice that can help you navigate life and stay ahead in your own journey. So, if you're enjoying this content, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, stick around during this episode because Jolene's going to have a couple stories to kind of share with us, and we all love stories, don't we, listeners? And
Yes,
it's all
we
like that, right, Jolene?
do. Yes.
Awesome. So with that being said, we're going to kind of go into and learn about a little bit about the background, as well as staging and strategy, some stories, virtual staging. So with that being said, let's go ahead and dive into what led you into the world of home staging.
Well, if you would have asked me 20 years ago that I would be sitting here with you today doing this, I would have had no idea. Isn't that what everybody says when they start their journey? So, actually, I just celebrated my 3-year anniversary in May.
Well,
Woo! I'm so
congratulations.
excited. Thank you. And honestly, I really what got me started. I had worked in several furnishing stores over the years. I was a stay-at-home mom from 2003 until my kids hit middle school. And by the time, one's already graduated in college, and this last one, my second one, graduated this year. And so a couple years ago in 2022 is when I opened my business. And I just needed and wanted something for myself, what's life going to be like after they leave the home or, on their own
Right.
journey, right? So I had owned previously a business, and while I was working in one specific store, slightly after the pandemic and the kids went back into school, I just was working for a small biz furniture accessory store, and I was like, I could totally do this. I could do this again, right? Like, I need something for me. Mama needs some pocket money, something, and just to keep myself up, as a human, to do something. Anyway, and I love helping people pick out decor for their home. And so around that time, I had a conversation with a longtime family friend who's an interior designer, like, what can I do? And she's like, go get certified under the interior design program at Seminole State College for the residential staging certification, and you're going to love it. So I did that, graduated in May, and haven't looked back. So,
Awesome. That's such a great story.
yeah.
So, and I know a lot of our listeners are wanting to be entrepreneurs or business owners as well. And they all have a story too, which resonates, and your story should resonate with them as well. So why is home staging so important in the home selling process?
Very good question. So I would say first, there's many reasons why. It's important because, one, we're talking about a marketing strategy. So when I became a residential staging specialist, aka home stager, I also became a visual marketing specialist. Why? Because we're visually marketing homes. And there's several reasons. The ones that I like are, first impressions are everything, right?
Good point.
We don't always get a second opportunity.
Right.
Not without a thoughtful, let me revisit that. And where do buyers look first? Online.
Mm-hmm.
So buyers scroll first, they scroll fast, and online photos are your very first opportunity to introduce your home. And that's that very first impression. And so whether the homes are staged or not staged, it's what turns a scroll into a save or a bye-bye or a scheduled showing. And so it gets that foot traffic. It helps buyers see potential, and it creates an emotional appeal. So
I like that.
yeah.
And when you're talking about online, let's go into virtual staging.
Okay.
How has that evolved over the years?
Well, technology has evolved,
Yeah,
and so
absolutely.
has virtual staging. And so I kind of struggle with virtual staging. I totally understand why it's done. And again, as I've mentioned to you before, I don't ever want to crash anybody's dreams or hopes.
Hmm.
I consider it to be more of a negative aspect on home staging because one, it's like um, a online dating. So it's online dating. The house looks great in pictures, but then when you go to visit it, it's a great big disappointment. Things aren't what they seem. And I've talked to buyers about this many times, just running into people here or there, and they're like, we visited a house and it was not what we expected it, and we were so disappointed. And I talked to realtors, they'll call me, Jolynne, I virtually staged a home, and it's not selling, can you come and help us? And so the other aspect is the scale and the proportions for virtual staging doesn't really give an accurate
Description.
description, of
Hmm.
how you can really fit that space.
Very good. Very well stated. When we're talking about home staging, what are some of the most important rooms when it comes to home staging that you kind of want to share with our listeners?
So some of the most important rooms, and I think NAR just uh, brought out their snapshot, their 2025 snapshot, and they have, a graph of scale and they did a poll to realtors. And the top room is your living room, followed by the kitchen, the primary bedroom, and the dining room. And those are all really our four main living areas. And so obviously, this is another reason, and it kind of flows through every question, is you're trying to create the appeal. And you're trying to create an emotional connection with those buyers. So what do you do when you walk into Pottery Barn or Williams Sonoma or Ashley's or whatever? You're bringing in all that energy. You're bringing in all of that texture and feeling, and like, oh my God, I can see myself sitting on this couch, and I
Right.
can see myself in this decor, and I can see myself in a certain lifestyle. And so when they see the living room and the kitchen where they can cook their family meals and sit at the dining room, they're buying a lifestyle. They're not buying the seller's home.
I like that. Buying a lifestyle and not buying a seller's home.
Well, if we think about it, that's really why builders have model homes, because they
Right.
know we buy with our emotion when we go into the mall or
A
the
model
Best
home.
Buy or some model home. What are we doing? We're shopping with emotion. What
Right.
is our lifestyle? How do we want to look? How do we want to feel when it comes to a long day at home? How do we want to live our life? And Sunday night football, reading nook with the kids and playing Play-Doh and
Or having or
nights.
having a cup of coffee on the
Yeah,
patio, right?
yeah. Or a romantic evening with your spouse. I mean,
Right.
it's all about the lifestyle.
So I know we were talking about this earlier prior to the episode. What about some stories you would like to share?
So, well, I think that some stories. Well, first of all, I actually specialize in occupied staging. So I've worked with a lot of people and worked with a lot of homes that are lived in. So I make those lived in homes list ready. I turn grandma's house into a grand masterpiece, so to say. And I don't necessarily say your decor is wrong when I go in there, because it's not. This is what you like as a seller. But now we're moving, we're moving forward, we're leaving. So I think what we need to remember, like that, let's say the house is in DeLand and Winter Garden. I've had a lot of successful stories. They sell faster. they've sold for above asking, whether that's 500 or 5,000 or more above that asking price. Those are the important things to consider when home staging. How long are they on the market? And so I love people, and I've had some pretty interesting, lovely families that I get to work with and enjoy as I go through this process with them. But yeah, those stories are always amazing. Beautiful, beautiful families over asking, and I cannot tell you how pleased I am after with the results.
Well, you provide a great service. So with that being said, that's part of what you do. You know what I mean? So what staging trends are you seeing? Because every industry has trends, right? That are coming into play. What kind of trends what say you regarding your business in this market today?
So when it comes to trends, staging trends, I'm going to say like maybe there's more design trends. Like I said, each stager has their own design style, their own color palette, and how they stage in their own business. I try to keep things neutral, classy with a pop of color, and decorize if you're interested in interior design, which is basically a slightly different than staging, because you're putting personality in with design, you're taking it out with staging. You're using the same process though in order to style the home. But the current design trends are terracottas coming back out, your warm brown tones, your wood textures, kind of like modern organic in a way.
Modern organic. That's awesome. I never heard that before. So with that being said, I mean, you've provided so much information, and I can tell that you're very passionate about what you do. And sharing this information with our listeners is priceless, of course. Could you provide our listeners a way to get a hold of you, maybe your phone number and your website as we wrap up? And by the way, subscribe, listeners, if you like this, please comment, in the comments below, as well as subscribe to the channel and give us a thumbs up as well.
So you can find me on Instagram and Facebook, Elements Home Staging on Facebook, elements.home.staging on Instagram. You can find me, Jolynne Mora, on LinkedIn. www.elementshomestaging.com is my website. And of course, 407-832-1028 is my phone number. Call me.
Well, Jolynne, it's been such an honor to have you. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to share with our listeners your passion when it comes to home staging. And hopefully we can have you back on the show in the near future.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me. I so appreciate the opportunity, and this was an awesome time. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thank you for tuning in to First Media Consulting Podcast. If you enjoyed the podcast, subscribe today. To nominate a business you would like to recommend to be on our show, go to firstmediaconsulting.com or call. Thank you for listening.